What's going on, all you wild vampires? It's your two favorite ghost hunters here.
Ooh.
It's Uncle Logan Myers, my good mate over there.
Uncle Henry Hill, and we are back to review American Horror Story double feature, Red Tide, the finale. The finale was finally here. The final episode of this part of the double feature, Red Tide, episode 6. We're going to find out what happens to old Harry Gardner and his family.
We talked about the first episode, but tonight we kind of wanted to go over all that in the finale, titled Winter Kills. So this has been a really fantastic season leading up until the finale. Things we did not predict happened this season. The writing was really fleshed out. A lot of the characters really great, and a lot of the acting is really top notch. This has been Finn Wittrock's season, really showing his acting chops and really what he's going through, the downfall of this character and his family, having to do with them being in Cape Cod and P-Town, Provincetown up there. And it's just to be, this magical place in the winter. It's where you creative people go and they create these masterpieces, this magnum opus. And that really sets up the season of him being in this place and really getting writer's block and then finding a way to really find his voice in his writing. And he writes a lot of really great stuff and introduces a bunch of characters and familiar faces we know from American Horror Story along the way.
Yes, we see a lot of familiar faces. Of course, the Ryan Murphy universe of American Horror Story, American Crime Story, American Horror Stories. We see a lot of familiar faces. Finn Wittrock, this is his season. Like you mentioned, he's a main character, this writer, Harry Gardner, the screenwriter, who moves to Provincetown with his family and then is introduced to Belle Noir. Austin Summers is at this bar, the Muse, and he gets a relationship going with them, and he finds out about this mysterious black pill that unlocks hidden talents within. If you're talented going in and you take this drug, this pill, this black pill, it unlocks your talents and your potential is realized, your maximum potential. And Harry takes it, and his writing skills go through the roof. He's able to produce all these properties that are just the hottest in Hollywood. Netflix is buying up his screenplays left and right. We hear about, Joaquin Phoenix and big actors signing on to these projects. So whatever's in that crazy black pill is unleashing Harry Gardner's, great screenwriting skills. But the catch is, if you're not talented going in and you take this pill, it basically turns you into a bald, pale, just bloodsucker. You're just hungry for blood, and there's no other reason you're there. You're just hungry to kill people.
And that was just like the normal in this town throughout this season. At night, you'll see them walking. People are like, "Yeah, just going to get groceries."
Yeah.
And then they get killed. I'm like,
right.
Just like walking around. They even walk around in the day too, which is unlike a vampire. I noticed, because they're like in broad daylight going to the beach and stuff. So it has to do with this pill and the chemist really creating this. And one of the episodes, they dive into her character more, her moving to Provincetown, or really, dealing all these drugs, basically this black pill, and introduces a lot more characters along the way. Macaulay Culkin was really fantastic this season as Mickey, kind of the prostitute drug addict in town that gets his hands on it. And he starts producing all these great scripts because he's a writer. Also introduces, Sarah Paulson's character, Karen. She's a local drug addict as well, but a painter. And what happens to their characters is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Macaulay Culkin's portrayal in this series. He did a great job playing Mickey. We don't really know. Him and Karen are very close in the beginning. They hang around each other. They're drug addicts. We don't really know his talents right away, but we come to find out that he has some skills as well as Karen, who's a painter, Mickey being a writer himself. Eventually he, gets into the black pills and becomes successful. And it sets up that episode where it shows him super successful with the sports car, saying that, he wrote this speed racer treatment, and he got a car just as close as he could to the speed racer car.
Yeah.
And he comes up, and Karen hadn't taken the black pill at that point. So she was really disappointed in Mickey taking this black pill and kind of selling out, going Hollywood. Mickey pulls up to her and he's like, "Get in, come on, let's go. We'll be the top 2 in Hollywood. Just come on with me. Let's go. We'll both take this black pill and just live off everybody else's misery. We're going to be high off the hog. We're going to be rich. Everybody will be under our thumb. We'll own the world. But Karen's not all about that. You know, she sees that it's corrupting everybody, and she doesn't want to be like that. You know, she's already messed up in this life. She's already reached rock bottom. She's this, you know, really pale, has nasty teeth, looks like she's a meth head, just wandering homeless from in this P town here on this Cape Cod. So yeah, seeing their relationship, Sarah Paulson and Macaulay Culkin, I really enjoyed that this season. That was one of the big highlights for me of American Horror Story Red Tide.
Yeah, she was really great. And what's really of her being anti this pill, which pretty much leads to the ultimate demise of her character. But Macaulay Culkin, really fantastic. Other characters, I really love this season. Leslie Grossman just stole the show.
Yeah,
in like 3 episodes. She was so good, like spot on. So great with her comebacks, like bitchy, snooty, but she knows the business and she knows talent.
Yeah.
So really sets up her character as Harry's, agent, coming out from LA to the East Coast to Provincetown to see him and see how he's changed while living there and finding out the real secret behind the whole town in this pill. So I thought her character was great. Lily Rabe was really fantastic as Harry's wife, and then what happens to her character is really surprising without giving too much away. And then Dennis O'Hare was another great standout performance. Again, another character in the Ryan Murphy universe. Met him a few times at the Chicago conventions. Very cool dude, but I liked his characters.
Ursula was great this season. She held her own in this world, this Hollywood, she's trying to produce all these projects to boost her career and not only boost Harry's career, but move her forward. And she had no fear really, once she found out what was going on in this town, it didn't scare her in the least. It didn't slow her down. She was never scared when she saw the vampires or anything like that. She kind of just shrugged it off like, whatever, I'll get past this. She had a really strong season. I agree with you there. Dennis O'Hara was great seeing him. He's kind of the cocky kind of interior decorator character in this town.
Yeah, not real estate.
So yeah, he did a really great job. He's always great, and he had a great role in this. It was also very cool to see our good mate Austin Summer there, Evan Peters, and
Emmy winner
now, Evan Peters, working close together with Belle Noir, played by Frances Conroy. They had a nice little relationship too. They played off each other very well. Evan Peters being this young up and coming actor who's fresh off his Emmy win now, and Frances Conroy, who's been doing this for a long time. So just seeing their back and forth in their relationship, both being writers in there and just having a lot of fun in this season. That those two characters had a lot of fun. They go around town hunting at night, looking for fresh blood, fresh meat. And it was cool seeing Belle Noir's backstory too, with her like shitty husband. He was really verbally abusive and shit all over her career. She was she wrote romance novels beginning. He didn't really give a shit. She was on a book tour.
He banged another woman.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I'm going to have sex with somebody else at the hotel. Your book's worthless. We came out here and 2 people showed up at your book tour here at the bookstore. So he didn't see any potential in her. He basically degraded her the whole time. Well, after Belle took the pill, then she took out her husband and, she basically became ultra successful. And she met up with Austin Summers, Evan Peters, and they had some really great chemistry together. I love that. And I love the episode where Evan Peters dressed up in drag.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Yeah, that was a really great scene. And then, of course, all their banter with Harry too, just getting him in the fold, introducing him to the black pill, convincing him that this was a good idea. And not only Harry, and once, Harry got the black pill, then he brings that home with him, and his daughter kind of figures out that he's taken this pill and it's making him be able to write, scripts in a crazy amount of time, like nothing. He's producing all this great work, and she kind of sees that. She's a violinist, an up and coming violinist, and she has dreams of being, really great too. So she's very interested in the black pill. And we see what happens when she gets her hands on a black pill.
Watching this season and watching the final episode, seeing this young actress, I can totally see her playing Charlie, the new Firestarter, which they already filmed it. They just finished it. So I'm really excited. I've never seen this actress. Obviously, she's young and anything else, but this season, she really knocks it out of the park. Something very unsettling about her and something off about her. And I thought she did a really great job as a young actress. Really excited for the new Firestarter movie from Blumhouse coming out with Zac Efron playing the dad. So really stoked for that. And then going back to Austin and Bella Noir's character and really his introduction and backstory, how he met Bella was really cool. And he was doing some dancing. I love that music from Heart, Magic Man. I've been jamming it ever since because it was just a really great scene. One of the best, probably one of the better episodes of the season for sure.
Overall, a really great season. They weren't able to stick the landing, unfortunately. It had 5 really great, solid episodes where we learned a lot. In 5, we learned more about the black pill, and it was heading into, it had a lot of momentum going into the final episode, and unfortunately, they weren't able to land it. It was just a mess of a finale. It felt really rushed. They introduced this storyline in the beginning where the town sheriff she washed up. These fishermen were out, fishing, and the body washed up, and they kind of brought that to the authorities, and the Massachusetts State Police get involved, and they're having a meeting at the town hall there. And, basically this state police woman is, talking about all these mysterious murders that are always happening in this town. There's always bodies washing up, and there's always weird stuff going on, and she's going to investigate it. And all the people on the council there, including Dennis O'Hare's character, they're all quick to dismiss it. They're like, things happen, things always happen, weird things happen in the winter, it just happens here, but in the springtime, then none of this happens again. This is just an afterthought. It's always been like this. Let's not bring a bunch of unwanted attention to this town here, because in the spring and summer months, it brings in all these fantastic writers who come here to escape, and it helps them focus, and we get all this business around here, and that's what really makes this town. So it kind of goes from there, but they never really go back to that initial thing, that investigation. It's kind of just glanced over, like nothing ever happens with it. We don't ever find out if they did any investigation or anything came of it. It just sort of follows, what happens with Harry and his daughter. Things don't end well, of course. And basically it leads to Ursula basically taking over. She's the main character by the end of the episode, and she takes that old black pill to Hollywood. And it sets up that really funny scene where she's, talking to a bunch of up and coming, I think, are they writers? I think they're writers. Okay. She berates the guy there, and, makes him feel like an asshole, like he doesn't even know what he's talking about. And she's like, basically, this black pill has everything you need. So
everybody in the crowd takes it, and it's just pure chaos in LA. Everybody, because obviously they're not talented from the first part of the season. If you don't have talent, you're going to turn into, this like vampire monster kind of thing. And then you see pure chaos in the streets of Hollywood, people getting killed, and they're becoming cops. And it's really a lot on social commentary, really heavy handed with the politics of like getting rid of the bad cops kind of thing.
Right.
It didn't really mix with the rest of the season. I don't know. Really. It just kind of out of left field. It didn't really mix with the rest of the season. And I don't know. It just felt like it was super rushed, and they ran out of ideas, and they really tried to play it safe instead of going out with a bang and a really memorable finale. It just played it really safe and didn't take any chances like the rest of the season.
Yeah, the chemist that came up with the black pill, she was sort of introducing it to these cops to make it look like, what's going on now with the police brutality and stuff. Yep. Basically, she'd give it to these police officers. They'd turn into the pale vampires, basically, and the vampires would attack people randomly in the streets. So she was pretty much, framing it on that, making it look like it was all these bad cops out here just killing people, making it a problem like that. So she was still getting away, and she basically said, even if they test these people, they're never going to know, what caused this, because nobody knows the chemistry of these black pills. They're not going to be able to test for it. So she's going to get off scot-free. And pretty much that's the series there. The black pill's introduced in Hollywood. Everybody's either turned into a genius writer in Hollywood. Everybody's going to make it big, all the talented people. But most of the people are, don't have real big talents, and they're going to turn into these vampires, and it's just going to be chaos.
Exactly. It's just like that episode you were talking about, American Horror Stories. And talent rises, but it's nothing without craft. That's what they're saying. It's just Winter Kills. It was such a lackluster and boring finale. and nothing really memorable about it. Like most of the story they wrapped up in the first like 10-15 minutes of this, and then went out to LA with this other bullshit that really didn't make sense for me. And it just fell flat. I was really disappointed. I was like, this is one of the first seasons of American Horror Story I've loved in a very long time.
Yeah.
Like 6-7 years, and really excited each week for the new episode, and just huge disappointment with the finale. Come on.
Yeah. It felt like they were trying to be really ambitious, Ryan Murphy, splitting up the season into two.
Yeah.
What I think he should have done is just, focus on this story. Let's just split it into 2 seasons, show them back to back as a double feature. We don't need just like 6. This could have been more fleshed out, could have been more realized. There was definitely, 5 or 6 more episodes that they could have filled with this. Let's see Mickey and Karen go on. We pretty much got Mickey taking the black pill, and then all of a sudden he was gone within an episode. They could have taken some time here. The same with Harry. Once he was like, okay, we got to head back, we're not gonna take the black pill. It was just kind of like, that was it. His daughter attacked him, and that was the end of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like really all that build up for that, a lackluster kind of goodbye to that character. And a lot of characters too. The other ones we're kind of talking about without, try not to spoil too much, but some characters we loved kind of just went out.
Yeah. Overall, a great season though. I think we both agree that this was one of the strongest seasons of American Horror Story overall. I mean, this is just a half season so far. We're going to get Death Valley still. So hopefully Death Valley will wash out the taste of that final episode. But those first episodes before the finale were fantastic. This was a really strong season. I love the introduction of Macaulay Culkin's character. It was great seeing him on the screen again. I hope he keeps acting. I hope we see him in more stuff. He deserves to be up there. He's a good actor. And I would love to see more from him. I'd love to see him work with Evan Peters. That would be cool. Hopefully they bring him back for some upcoming seasons, even Finn Wittrock. And Finn had a great season too. I believed him as a screenwriter there. He did a really convincing job as the father of this family. And then Lily Ray, her character, felt bad for her. She was, this mother, she went with her husband to, go there and support his career. He needed to get away and write. So she went with him. She was pregnant there. And, unfortunately things didn't end well for the Gardner family. Unfortunately, the black pill made its way through. And by the end of the episodes, the black pill pretty much took over the world. So, but with that being said, I had a great time overall with the series. I will give the American Horror Story double feature Red Tide a 4 out of 5 Harry Gardner black pill pieces.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with a lot of things you were saying. Really strong season, one of the best ones in a long time, one of my favorites. I watched a lot of these episodes twice because I really enjoyed it and just liked visiting these characters and seeing them out on the East Coast. But the rest of it was really great ensemble of actors and actresses. Love Macaulay Culkin, love the story. I like how they did something different. They took chances this season. It really worked for, to their advantage for the most part. The writing, the script was more polished, and they took more chances and just had a really great time with this. And this is a season I would highly recommend, minus the final episode. And if you guys haven't seen it, check it out, especially during the Halloween season. It's a lot of fun.
I also love the setting here in Provincetown. It made for a really eerie setting. It was always cloudy there. You never saw any sun. And I thought they did a good job with the pale people, the vampires out there too. I liked how they're like, their bones crunched, and they wore these like 80s looking jackets with the shoulder pads that kind of highlighted the shoulders sticking out. Yeah, that's what it reminded me of. So yeah, definitely the setting played in to this as well. It was a major character as well, and it really set the tone for the whole series.
It really did. It really had that Stephen King vibe to it. Small town writer goes out to the East Coast, in Cape Cod, and just dives into his writing, much like Stephen King, on benders, drinking, and coke, everything he did back in the day. I don't know if they're intentionally paying homage to Mr. King, but it definitely had that vibe to it, which I really loved and really, got me invested in this. So that being said, I'm going to give American Horror Story double feature Red Tide, the first part, a 3.5 out of 5 Dennis O'Hare hair pieces. Dennis O'Hare.
Dennis, your hairpiece.
We'll be back for more reviews for 31 Days of Horror all month long in October. Me and this guy over here are going to be talking more movies and TV shows, having a great time doing it. And just check out our YouTube channel. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our website, cinefellas.com. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe below.
We had a great time reviewing American Horror Story Red Tide, and we can't wait to review the next part. And we're going to be back for the premiere episode of American Horror Story Death Valley, which will go back in time, it looks like, from the previews and deal with aliens. So that should be pretty cool. It also looks like we're going to get an origin story to how these black pills kind of came in to play here. So I'm interested to seeing how these two stories, whether they're going to connect in some way besides the black pills. We'll see. Maybe we're going to see some characters come over for each. I don't know. I'm interested to see some aliens in this American Horror Story world. We saw a little bit in the previous season. I think it was Asylum, I want to say. With the aliens, but this one's looks like it's going to take us to Area 51 maybe. And I'm looking forward to that. So we can't wait to be back with you guys. We're having a blast during these 31 days of horror, and we have plenty more to come. And that was our review of American Horror Story Red Tide. I'm Finn Wittrock.
And I'm Leslie Grossman.
Cheese!